Well, welcome everyone to our experience. My name is Arnie Clayman, and I am the former VP of Professional Affairs at ASCP. I am retired as of a month ago, and I'm now consultant for ASCP. I'm going to let our two guest speakers introduce themselves. Denise?
Hi, I'm Denise Chodnicki, consultant pharmacist for Remedi SeniorCare.
And I am Janae Parson, consultant pharmacist and lead consultant pharmacist for the Mid-Atlantic region for Remedi SeniorCare.
Well, thank you. And Remedi SeniorCare has been around for a while, and we have all been around for a while.
We have.
Yes, a long time.
We won't add up the years. I would need a calculator.
Many years.
A lot of time.
We're a lot younger than we look.
Exactly. I'll go with that. So Remedi has a very unique dispensing system that they developed for long-term care. And it was an evolution of all the different dispensing systems that are out there. They thought that this system would be a more efficient way of delivering patient care to residents of long-term care and extended care facilities. So can you tell us a little bit about that system, Paxit?
Yeah, Paxit is our proprietary dispensing system. What's great about Paxit is it saves the nursing staff about 30 minutes per med pass, I believe. The packaging system is delivered on a daily basis. Each medication is unit dose packaged into time-specific baggies, which makes it nice and different from some of the other dispensing systems in that when you open the baggie, there's not just a bunch of loose tablets that you must identify and figure out, oh, I was supposed to take that Lasix out, I have to figure out which one it is. Everything is unit dose packaged within those timed baggies. And also, nice about our unit dose packaging, which is different from what we see in hospitals, the unit dose package actually is made in a way where it doesn't have sharp pointed corners. And that sounds like a trivial kind of thing, but man, it's hard to get things out of those packaging sometimes, and you're poking yourself and you're ripping it and the plastic is getting you. So that makes it a nice, little unit dose little package there for them with, it has all the drug information on there, expiration date, everything is right on there.
Sure,
So.
and isn't it all barcoded as well?
Yes,
Which makes it
it's
a lot
all
easier
barcoded. And the other nice thing is also that they don't have to worry about any of their PRN medications being mixed in with their routine medications. So when they pull out their 9 o'clock meds, they're just pulling out their 9 a.m. meds to give.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a really great system. I believe, all the nurses that I speak with on a regular basis definitely like the system. Certainly there are medications we still send in some different packaging systems.
Bulk bottles.
Our controlled substances will still come out in the cards. And we do get some grumbling about that. They really wish that could come as Paxit, but
sure.
Up to this time, that's how we still dispense those. So they do have to deal with that a little bit, but they can see then right there the benefits of having the Paxit system versus a cart full of cards with bubbles popping here and there and just tablets laying around in the carts.
Plus having bulk bottles, because sometimes they do have bulk bottles for certain medications that cannot be repackaged.
Sure.
So they have those bulk bottles, and then you've got the storage issue, and if you have multiple ones of those, the cart gets overwhelmed.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right, and another great bonus to the Paxit system on the administration side for the nursing homes is the decrease in the waste. Because we are dispensing the day's medications, we're basically one day ahead. So what's coming today is what you're going to use for tomorrow. But it cuts down on the waste. So if 2 days ago they ordered a card full of a drug, and now they decided they want to change the dose, unfortunately the nursing home is stuck with that card of 28 tablets left. But with us, you probably just have 1 day's worth sitting around that's going to be, billed. And we only bill for what's dispensed.
What's dispensed,
right. So that makes it a great cost savings.
I think that's a good point, though, about delivery. So you're delivering 1 day's supply every day to the facility.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's a little different than a lot of other systems as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually before it was either a 30-day or a 48-hour supply. We did 30-day boxes of medication.
There's so many different. The Opus system, 223, or there's all kinds of things.
And so what's interesting about Remedi is they grew out of what was a local pharmacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
many local pharmacies. There was a lot of Pac-Man going on for a while, where one was gobbling up the other. And then this was a completely new concept for a long-term care pharmacy. Started in Baltimore. And want to talk a little bit about how that company has grown?
Yeah, I'll let Denise. Denise has been around. I've been around a long time, and Denise actually was one of my mentors. So it's amazing.
She was talking about
When I was
that
10.
today. Yes.
But Denise definitely started before I do, and I know she has more insight as to even before my time with the
I have
company.
been doing this for 41 years now, Janae. And in 41 years, we have gone from punch cards into all facilities to everyday exchange of cassettes and all like that. So it's been a whirlwind. I've only been with Remedi for 8 years now, so I'm not as familiar with the Paxic. When I first started with them, I was kind of like, what the heck is all of this? And just trying to figure it out, because I grew up on the 30-day system or the 42, 72-hour system and all like that, where we sent it out and the drivers were constantly going in and out, and you had to worry about, did the cassettes get exchanged, or they brought back empty cassettes, and you were like, and they're like, oh, we brought back a full cassette and the empty one's still sitting there, and you're like, ah. So
we can remember some of those.
Yeah, this
systems.
all grew out of
Yeah.
probably in the 20 teens sometimes. I remember somebody telling me about the Paxit system at Remedi.
It's been kind of an evolution
Yes.
of
And
systems.
I'm not really sure what other facilities of
Well, Remedi's now
Remedi
all over
use
the
it.
country. I
Right.
mean, I've
And I
gotten the opportunity to tour some of those
Yes.
facilities in Tampa, Florida. That covers like southern Florida, and I don't know all the markets, but they're pretty much a national company
Yeah,
now.
we're out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
I
coming.
mean, I know
Coming to a state near you.
Colorado,
Yep.
because I do the only East Coast home that a group has.
Colorado.
And out of Colorado, they have one home in Delaware, and that's
wow.
the only one. And
Interesting.
it's like that's how we got associated with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're out there.
And there has been, quite the evolution of, we were speaking, Denise started with what is now Remedi, with the initial company
Which
did
was
the long-term care,
Woodhaven.
Woodhaven.
Yes.
The Handelmans, Doc Handelman,
Exactly.
Stephen Handelman, well known in this area for sure.
Yeah.
But Denise started with them early on. I was hired by that company actually, and I've stuck with them this whole time. But just the evolution of what we've seen, the small spaces we happen to work in, and but we were able to get the drugs to the customers and correctly, and great customer service. So that's always really been a big core
Yes.
element of this company. Just
Customer
because they
service,
started
yes,
off
definitely.
as such a nice, local, very well-respected company, and those are just values that we've carried with us, starting with the company early on, and it's very important to me,
absolutely.
in being out there and just, making sure that, I have the, respect and I'm filling the needs that,
Yeah.
that they
Denise
have.
and I go back a long time. We
Yes.
actually worked together
We worked
almost
together.
40 years ago.
Okay, there you
go. It's a long time ago. But Woodhaven and Handelman's have always been, customer service
Customer
has been
service
a very
oriented, yes.
important thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
That was, it was something that was instilled, early on in my career
Yeah.
in long-term care. And
Yeah.
I
We
appreciate
beat that into Janae.
Exactly.
So why don't we talk a little bit about your roles in the company in consultant pharmacy and what you're doing?
So right now, as Janae said, she's the lead pharmacist. So she assigns us our homes. Basically, we have the same homes every single month. So we don't really change up our homes unless people are on vacation or things like that we need to fill in for them. So combination of like both assisted living and long-term care, and just going in there. And also, since now we're post-COVID, and that really changed our whole landscape a lot. Whereas before we had to go in and sign the charts and all like that, COVID kind of forced us to move into the future of signing into the charts and the facilities getting more information into their charts for us. So that we don't have to spend the whole entire day in the facility. We can, work from home with, when necessary, and to get our job done.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Janae,
It's
do you
a
have-
nice hybrid of being able to do that. And, there's certain times when, being at my home office, I'm able to actually, I feel like I can concentrate a little more. I maybe have a little less distractions going on. When I get out in the nursing home, a lot of it's it's a lot of PR, so there's a lot of socialness going on, and we've got to catch up with everybody. So that does always take some time, and you get caught up in different things. But it is
Sure.
also nice to have that presence in the facility that they know they can contact you. They certainly know they can call me. I've already this morning, on a day that I thought I normally wouldn't have people calling me, I've already had to address about 3 issues
It
this
always
morning.
happens.
Yes,
It
exactly.
always happens,
So, but I do like to be out there and to be the face of the company and to really help them with anything that they can, that they need, or anything I can that they need. Whether it's directing them to the right department or like just taking care of it myself, which a lot of times is easier, but you don't want to spoil them too bad. But so yeah, and
But we do.
we do, and again, I think that comes from the values that we're
We
instilled.
walk into the facility and they're like, they see you and they're like, oh,
been
Denise,
holding on.
can you take care? I was like, okay, what is it we need to do for you?
Yeah, well, there's never any problems, right?
No, never.
No.
Never any problems.
But let me get my coat off at least, and then we'll try to take care of it.
Yeah. So
Or
I
get
mean,
a pen out.
I basically I do the same as Denise. I have a full assignment of nursing homes that I consult for. I do some expanded services at one of my bigger buildings. Actually do warfare management for them. But as we know, that has really dwindled, and most of our folks are receiving the the Eliquis now.
Right.
So my role in that has gone down, but I actually enjoy that. It's nice
Sure.
to have a little extra hand in doing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just have a little bit of an expanded role. Just I make the schedule and, have to tell people how much vacation coverage they're getting.
Yeah. Or when I don't know something, Janae.
So let me ask you about, we've all been in this industry for a long time now and seen a lot of changes, not only in dispensing systems, but in clinical services and the needs of the facilities. Where do you kind of see long-term care going? What changes do you see happening in the facilities?
I mean, I think, and we've seen this evolve. I know you've seen it, Denise, you've seen it. I mean, the assisted living residents are getting a little more, it's kind of the old long-term care folks
that's what I
are
was
now
gonna
assisted
say.
living folks. It's like, we're kind of stepping up the acuity of our residents. And I mean, a lot of these residents are getting in the skilled, buildings that have Medicare skilled units. There are some very
Complex.
tricky folks in there. They're coming in on a lot of drugs, a lot of expensive drugs. We can talk a little bit about that. We had a little conversation about
sure.
that this morning. Just many drugs, many different disease processes going on, and they're getting sent out of the hospitals as soon as they can. And unfortunately, I think ever since COVID, we've gotten to a point where staffing is difficult. I know at most of my buildings, it still has not. It hasn't returned to what it was pre-COVID, and that's not a good combination. This higher acuity of residents, and then this lack of staff, or maybe even staff that might not be up to par with dealing with these folks, and that's a big issue.
Sure.
Because that's just going to perpetuate them being sent back to the hospital, and that's what we want to avoid. And it's kind of a vicious cycle there. So I think that's a challenge right now.
And just like Janae said, I mean, the patients that are in our long-term care facilities are not the patients that we saw 30 years ago. I mean, and we've talked about this. We don't see the charts where they had a PRN, Tylenol, and a Milk Mag, and you signed
maybe
the chart and went.
multivitamin, maybe.
Yeah, and you moved on. It's like, oh my God, let's see what's going on here, and all like that. So if it continues, I mean, it's like some of the subacute units, you sometimes think, God, this patient should probably be back in the hospital, but you've got nurses in long-term care that are really trying to take care of these residents that are very difficult at times.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning some specific issues, like with access to medications. Do you want to elaborate on that?
yeah, Denise and I were actually having a conversation this morning. So why don't you talk about the CMS letter that an administrator received?
One of my facilities got a letter stating they were questioning about billing for a high-cost dollar med that they basically, the government was paying for it under Medicare Part D, and they were questioning because the patient is actually in the facility under a Medicare A. So they're looking at, hey, why are we paying Medicare D? And this patient should be covered by is being covered by Medicare A because they're in a long-term care facility. So they're really looking at the dollar where their dollars are being spent, and so that could become a huge issue for us because, like Janae was saying earlier, I mean, she had a patient that came into a facility that had like really 3 high dollar volume items, and the family's bringing it in. So I think it's going to be a crunch time. It's going to make all the homes, like my DON said to me, he's like, Denise, he goes, I'm not going to accept patients where their medication costs me $7,000 for the month.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
right. And
That could be a
then
problem with
where are they going to
access.
go?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
already it's difficult to place a lot of these folks. And we know they stop a lot of these meds while they're in their acute hospital stay, which is normal.
Yes.
But when they discharge them, they want them to go back on, their home routine basically again. So it puts them in a pickle. There's a lot of places that, they get denied. And when you finally do find a facility to take them, it's always just from the past and, looking at a chart saying, resident may use own. I'm like, oh, no, that's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
But
And
now,
it's like,
you completely
we're like,
understand
oh, yeah, okay,
it.
we understand,
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a big situation. And I know Arnie said this, you had spoken.
Oh, yeah,
come up
actually,
before.
this was probably now about 4 years ago. We had a meeting at CMS specifically about this problem to talk to Dr. Kelmer about, who was the medical director, unfortunately has passed away recently, but talked to him about access for these drugs because if patients are on a Part A stay, the exact problem that you brought up. And he had a slew of people. We met him at the Hubert Humphrey building in downtown DC, and we had people from Medicaid and Medicare, and basically what we were told was, yes, they recognize this is a problem, but they are unable to change what drugs could be covered because it would take an act of Congress. It would take Congress to change the list of drugs that were exempt. And so basically we're told, yeah, it's a problem, but go away.
Right.
We're not going to do anything
It's
about
going to
it.
continue to be a problem.
Yes, it's going to
Yeah,
continue.
and if 4 years ago this was an issue, it's only getting worse. I mean, we know we
Right.
see constantly the commercials for all those great drugs out there, and those are the ones that
Those are the
cost a lot of
ones that
money,
cost,
and
Yeah.
those are the ones they're starting to use. So
Yeah, and Dr. Kelman understood the issue very well. We didn't have to go into a lot of depth. He got it, but he felt that CMS didn't have the ability to fix
any
that on
changes.
their own. But I think it's going to become a crisis level in the future if this
Yeah, I
keeps
agree.
happening. There's a
Yeah,
lot more
definitely.
expensive drugs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, just even some of the like urinary incontinence meds. I mean, the newer ones. They're like for a 30-day supply. It's over $300. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $10
one of
a
many.
day. Yeah,
And
that's
one of many drugs,
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
if they're on 10 meds and they're all $10 a day, it makes a difference.
Oh,
Oh, sure.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
And even just looking at the GLP-1s,
God,
great
yes.
drugs for diabetes,
Yeah.
very effective, but man,
But
they're
getting
killing
them
us.
covered.
Yeah.
Getting them
right,
covered, yeah.
and I mean,
That's
even I
another
think
thing.
Eliquis is probably the drug that costs some of my skilled units the most money, just because of the sheer volume of that. But I mean, even you throw one of those in there, and I do read a lot of charts where they're trying to decide what to do for anticoagulation, just because these poor folks, when they're out in the community, they're not going to be able to afford that. So,
Well,
Right.
and another issue that's really facing long-term care pharmacy in general is with the Inflation Reduction Act and the 10 drugs that are going to be effective in January. The price controls, basically, the setting of the prices and making the pharmacy whole again with purchasing it more and getting reimbursed less. That's a whole issue, and I know ASCP has been extremely involved in that, meeting with all of those manufacturers to talk about their effectuation plans, because cash flow is going to be a big problem for pharmacies if they can't get
Right.
reimbursed in a timely manner.
Absolutely.
And that could really cause a lot of pharmacies to have financial problems, severe financial problems.
Yeah.
So
Big
there's a
issues.
lot of challenges.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I know ASCP has been working on, and the company that you now have merged with is very focused on is home care. So we're looking at patients that need these long-term care type services in the home. And how do we get reimbursed for that? And without being part of Medicare Part B in terms of being a provider to be able to bill for clinical services, we're looking for some some interesting ways to try to at least get partially paid for these services, with the hopes that as we get provider status, which is something that we've been working on
Something
for
that we've been working on forever, it seems like.
forever,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
keeps getting a little bit closer,
Yeah.
just kind of grinding away at that, which is another issue that we've worked on very, very hard.
Yeah.
But being able to provide these services at home, and we've formed an alliance for long-term care at home, which has a lot of organizations. We've developed a vetting form for determining what patients would qualify, because we have to be very careful that if a plan is going to pay for it,
Right.
the patient has to really be
appropriate.
qualified, not
Sure.
just it's inconvenient to go to the pharmacy, but
Yeah.
someone who's
Right.
really homebound or
Right.
has difficulty leaving the
Issues
home
getting-
without
yes.
assistance. So this is something that we're really working on, and hopefully this is something that the pharmacies will be able to tap into as well, in terms of being able to provide that services for patients. And it's another revenue stream for them that will help
Right.
overall take care of this population.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I know the company that we have been acquired by is Clarist. Great company, and this is something I can't speak too much on. I don't know as much on the Clarist side, but they do have a very big presence in the Midwest, where they are working very hard on the home services for medication, which, that is an area, obviously, that an area near and dear to my heart. I'm from North Dakota. I'm a bison with a Z.
Well, plus there's still
But yeah, right. So there's a lot of need. There's so many more rural,
the rural
folks living
areas.
rural that there's no
plus
hospitals.
there's patients that just don't want to go into a nursing home,
Exactly.
into long-term care, and they want to stay at home. So
Sure.
they,
Yeah.
that would help them and their families in taking care of mom and dad at home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I ran into it myself with my mother, who, ended up needing to go to a nursing home. And, the town that we lived in, we did have a nursing home, a small nursing home in the town, but, she ended up going someplace that was 2.5 hours away, So and that's common.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of, acute services close by, so.
Well, this issue is near and dear to my heart, and I'm actually going to continue to work on that as a consultant moving forward. But I feel that this is really the future of consultant pharmacy, is to be able to provide these services not only in facilities, but actually in patients' homes,
Yes.
one-on-one with people.
Yeah, I
So
agree. Yeah.
hopefully we can get to that point. It's a slow
Sure.
march
Yeah.
to that
We'll
end,
keep
but
trudging.
we have to keep pushing if
Yeah.
we're going to get there.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the whole, the big focus now on continuity of care.
Care.
And that just plays right into it. And
Transitions
who
of
doesn't
care,
want to
absolutely.
be at home and be cared for and make sure everything, is good with
Sure.
your meds and somebody's watching out for you. So, yeah, I agree. That's
Well, great.
big.
Well, thank you both for being here today. It was great.
Absolutely.
Do you have any closing thoughts that you want
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I told them not to do that.
I had to do it.
Okay, I
but
spend
anyway.
every birthday with ASUP. What can I say?
And we appreciate that.
And we appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks, everyone, for watching us.